Askreddit. Who was the dumbest person you ever met? How did you know? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell to never miss a video. My former boss was worried that the island of Manhattan would sink with all the extra visitors for New Year's and the ball dropping. She thought islands float, and when she found out that wasn't true, she thought it was so funny that she told everyone the story. She was later fired for withholding a pay raise from someone on her team because he didn't accept her sexual advances. He had the texts to prove it. Edit. Grammar error. One time my now ex-girlfriend was watching Maury Povich, one of those paternity test episodes with the classic "you are not the father" moment, and she turns to me and says, "If we ever have a baby and I found out I'm not the mother, I'll kill you." Thankfully we didn't end up reproducing. You just randomly bring home a baby. Congratulations, dear. We've had a child. Don't worry, it's yours, honey. I was working retail at the time, and this lady walks in and asks me to tell her when it is 10:15 AM she needs to catch a bus. We were slow, so I oblige. 10:15 AM rolls around and I tell her, so she drops her stuff and runs out to get the bus. 5 minutes later she comes back, it's scowling, and she then lectures me on how to tell time. How much is a quarter? 25 cents. So why would you tell me 10:15 AM is 10:15 AM? It's 10:25 AM. Tell her that her bus is late today. It will be in at $3 to 11. He had just purchased a new high-powered BB gun. We had just finished shooting it in the backyard when he points the barrel at my face and pulls the trigger several times. I tell him to stop being an idiot and he just laughs and says it's not loaded. Then the moron puts the barrel in his mouth and pop shoots a BB right through his tongue and into his uvula. Edit. For those asking why it shot him and not me, I was sitting down, so the end of the barrel was at a downward angle. When Genius shot himself, the barrel was at an upward angle, causing the last BB to roll down to the back of the ammo tube and into the chamber. Reminds me of a similar story. The first time I went over to my friend's house for a sleepover, I saw he had weight on the ground and I decided to do a bunch of arm curls. Now on the weight, 1T was the only thing written on it, probably the brand name or something. So I asked him how much it weighed, and he tells me it weighs 1 ton. Me, haha, imagine that. No, seriously, how much does it weigh, dude? Him, it weighs a ton. It says right there. Me, dude, it can't weigh a ton. That's impossible. No one can lift that. Him, okay, let's ask my mom. We asked his mom and she seriously believed it weighed a ton. She's a lawyer. Anyway, I googled the curb weight of her car, Toyota Yaris, and it was a little over a ton. Finally convinced them that this tiny workout tool could not possibly be a ton. Few years ago in Australia, Coke changed their bottle to be a bit narrower and taller to suit less plastic. Both bottles were 600 milliliters. Girl in my class at uni adamant that the change wasn't to reduce plastic, but so they could put less Coke in to save money. I know they are both 600 milliliters, but the new one has less Coke in it. I was taught 11th grade science by a teacher who believed tattoos were genetically inherited. A girl in my class in middle school genuinely thought people had landed on the sun. Her explanation for this belief was to insist that the moon and sun are made of the same stuff. Well, yeah. Protons, neutrons, and electrons. You can build a lot of wacky shit with that, though. Protons, neutrons, electrons, and morons apparently. Had a girl I worked with at McDonald's. Sweet as could be, but denser than the concrete the store sat on. 2 moments stand out to me. First, she thought the Great Wall of China was in Arizona. Second, she firmly believed north was whatever direction you were looking at the moment. My wife wanted to meet an old friend from school she hadn't seen for about 20 years. We went to dinner, and he brought his wife, who he met 2 months ago, who was a male entertainer, and her 2 kids. He was white, she was black, and he spent the whole night trying to start crap with people for making racist comments about their relationship behind their back they weren't. When we finally got into talking, he told me about 9 jump points that exist to get off the earth. I thought to myself, oh boy, a flat earther. I've never met a real one before. But no, that's not what he was talking about. That would have been so much better than what he was talking about. He said there are 9 jump points on Earth that are essentially wormholes to other planets, and that there is one in New York City that goes to Mars, and that the American government has already colonized Mars and is hiding it from the people. And he was dead serious.
You were literally too stupid to insult.
I knew a grown woman who thought that dinosaurs never existed, or are a hoax that is being perpetuated through time by scientists trying to be in on the joke. Her main argument for this point: if dinosaur bones are real, tell me why it's only ever a paleontologist that keeps finding the bones.
But why?
I know a guy who thinks the specialty he drinks negates the negative health effects of his pack-a-day smoking habit. What's this specialty? I think might have smoked 1 pack too many. Stupid idiot. Girl in my class asked the professor if other countries have moons too. My best friend asked me this when I moved to Europe. She asked if I could see the moon there, or if it only existed for the USA. A guy at a job site said this to me in all seriousness. I'm quoting: "If Hitler had put all the Jews on the Titanic, he could have saved himself a lot of trouble." I felt like I had a stroke.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
I had a guy at work tell me that Benjamin Franklin was the 100th president because he's on the $100 bill. I live in southern Spain. I once met a girl from the US who was here on some kind of exchange program. When I asked her how did she like Spain so far, she said, "I'm loving it. I just don't know why the plane took so long to get here. I mean, we are just a bit below Mexico. I don't know where the flight was so long." Then I told her that we were in Europe and she didn't believe me. Her reply was, "Europe? It can't be. Everyone speaks Spanish, so we must be somewhere near Mexico for sure." She was in uni. I still don't know how or why. While visiting the Lincoln Memorial, I ran into an older couple discussing the inscription of the Gettysburg Address on the walls. The woman asked the man what this was in reference to, and if it was about America, and the man said something to the effect of, "No, this couldn't be about America. We never had any slaves here in our country. It must be about what happened in country X." These were 2 Americans.
You were literally too stupid to insult.
Someone asked me if Japanese was a real language in high school. Twice. Edit. Y'all are fucking hilarious. Wish I could gild some of you. Nap. It was just made up by really dedicated weebs. Was working at a grocery store over a decade ago. I wouldn't call the kid dumb, because he just didn't know. It's more of a funny thing. He was new and the manager asked him to face the store. When he asked what he could do, facing means you make sure the aisles look nice and neat, and that the product is pulled forward and visibly facing you as you walk down the aisle. The kid couldn't be found until someone told the manager one of the workers was just standing in the parking lot facing the store. I will never forget that. Edit. Holy guacamole. Thanks the gold and silver's kind strangers. My sister-in-law is an anti-vaxxer and believes her kid's cerebral palsy was caused by vaccines, despite the kid being born with 1/4 of her brain physically missing.
But why?
Dumbest basic girl in my history class was convinced that 9/11 was just called that because 9/11 is the emergency line. She deadass never believed or knew that it was nicknamed off of the date. After the history teacher tried to explain it to her, her response was something like, "But 9/11 happened in September, not in 9. 9 isn't even the name of a month, so it can't be the date," and everyone went into silence after that. My sister-in-law is lactose intolerant, but she always wants to go to McDonald's to grab their McFlurries. She says it's okay because McDonald's doesn't use real lactation in their shakes. She said that it was okay if she smoked while she was pregnant because the baby's father didn't smoke when it was conceived. So naturally they cancelled each other out. And the worst one of all, she refuses to sell Mary Kay cosmetics because she hates pyramid schemes. That's why she only buys and sells Avon.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Adult cousin with 2 kids thinks our immune systems were perfectly made by God, and that vaccines are a trick from the government to get us to put toxic chemicals into our bodies to actually make us sick because we are going against our trust in God and therefore deserve it. I've always felt she was a little slower than the rest, but still a nice person. Then I found out about this the other day via batshit insane Facebook post and immediately realized she's actually a dangerous idiot.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
I had a boyfriend a long time ago who believed dinosaurs and people lived at the same time. His evidence? The Flintstones. The relationship didn't last long after that. I worked with a guy that said the world is only 2,000 years old and that dinosaurs were a plot cooked up by the Democrats to corrupt the minds of young Republicans. No joke. A friend of mine was dating a girl that was dumber than a pile of bricks. Here are some of the fun things she did that made us crack up. In the dead of winter after an intense snowstorm, she decided that, in order to thaw her car quickly, she should dump hot water onto her car. Every single window, including the windshield, shattered when she dumped the 10-gallon bucket of nearly boiling hot water on her car. She couldn't understand how periods work and couldn't understand how to use a tampon. It took 3 women and 2 men to explain to her in explicit detail how both work. She once thought that Alaska was its own country. She got pissed when I told her it was a US state and refuses to talk to me the entire day. When her and my friend were going through an argument one day, she laid down in front of his car in a parking spot where he would have to back out. So he backed out and left her bewildered why it didn't work. She accused my friend of cheating on her when she got a UT. He explained to her that she probably got it from not showering for 3 days straight. She insisted that he was cheating on her. After going to the doctor, she finally admitted that she was lucky to not have an ST, but still convinced my friend gave her a UT. All of this happened at the ripe old age of 21. I worked with a girl who didn't know which countries fought in World War II. Read her favorite book all the time, but not in any order, and not saving her place. She'd just open it, read a few pages, then close it up, and do it again the next day. When I asked her a few months later why she was still reading the same book, she said, "I wanna know how it ends." And when I said she should just read the last few pages, she said she did, but she didn't understand it, and it was a really hard book. We tried to get her to understand reading it in order, but she just didn't grasp it, and said, "I like reading it my way." It was a young adult novel, some Twilight ripoff. She thought eggplant came from eggs that people planted. She drank only Arizona peach tea, and lots of it, because she heard from a friend that peaches helped you grow bigger boobs. But she didn't like peaches. After a few months of 6 to 10 cans per day, she did have bigger boobs because she gained 15 lbs. She was super flirty and friendly with everybody, and when one of our warehouse staff, a lesbian, asked her over to her house for a movie, she went, had sex with her, then was really upset to find out the other girl was a lesbian. She was worried that now she was a lesbian too. We had to convince her it's not like lycanthropy. That's all, folks. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.